In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome, dear viewers, to a vital new episode. One of the most challenging autoimmune conditions. In this disease, the immune system mistakenly targets a vital part of the body essential for both health and appearance and begins attacking it. It releases inflammatory substances that destroy these tissues, causing significant physical and psychological distress. This condition is known as alopecia areata. Most people have likely heard of it, as it is characterized by complete hair loss in specific areas, whether on the scalp in men and women or within the beard. And patients often search desperately for a cure, until very recently. Alopecia areata was treated only with topical medications, and we didn't fully grasp its underlying mechanisms. Now, we understand that in alopecia areata, immune cells erroneously attack hair follicles, misidentifying them as foreign invaders. They then release harmful inflammatory markers that cause the follicles to shut down and cease hair production. Hair often falls out in clumps, leaving behind small or large bald patches. In a small percentage of patients, it progresses to alopecia totalis, where all body hair is lost, including eyebrows, eyelashes, and scalp hair. This is a profoundly difficult journey for the patient. Until recently, there were few options beyond topical treatments, many of which were ineffective, leaving patients to suffer without relief. Then, just a few months ago, a major breakthrough emerged. Oral tablets specifically for treating alopecia. What is the story behind these tablets? How are they taken? What is the dosage? And what are the side effects? We will cover all of that in this video. Last June, the FDA approved the first oral medication for this condition, called Olumiant. The active ingredient in Olumiant is Baricitinib. This is the first ever systemic treatment for alopecia, and it has a fascinating history. It was discovered about 5 years ago and was originally developed to treat another serious autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis. In this condition, which is far more severe than standard rheumatism, the immune system attacks the joints, causing chronic inflammation and swelling. Because it was so successful there, researchers began looking at its potential for other conditions. The drug works by preventing the immune system from producing inflammatory substances by inhibiting a crucial enzyme known as Janus kinase, or JAK. When this enzyme is blocked, the overactive immune cells begin to calm down, halting the inflammatory process. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic arrived, bringing with it the dangerous cytokine storm. In severe COVID-19 cases, the immune system overreacts and attacks the body's own organs. Consequently, this medication was utilized to treat COVID-19. Later, it was observed that patients with alopecia who were taking the drug saw their hair regrow. Seeing these results, the pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly sought formal approval for its use in alopecia. Naturally, they had to provide rigorous clinical evidence that the medication effectively treats the condition. To prove its efficacy, they conducted human clinical trials, recruiting participants for 2 major phases. Participants were required to have at least 50% scalp hair loss to qualify.
ممكن اكتر من 50%، ممكن يكون شعره تساقط بصفه كامله يعني كاملا. وقالت لهم تعالوا احنا هنديكم العلاج ده. فكانوا بيجربوا عليهم الاقراص اللي تركيزها 2 مللي جرام والاقراص اللي تركيزها 4 مللي جرام، وبقوا يدوهم العلاج ده لاكتر من 6 اشهر، قرص كل يوم من ال 2 مللي جرام. مجموعه تانية من المرضى يدوها قرص كل يوم من التركيز ال 4 مللي جرام. بعد 6 اشهر كانت النتائج كالاتي.
The researchers then monitored those who achieved 80% or more hair regrowth, meaning nearly full recovery within a 6-month period. They found that the 4 milligrams dosage was significantly more effective than the 2 milligrams dose. Over 36% of patients using the 4 milligrams tablets experienced 80% or more regrowth. Essentially, about 1/3 of the participants saw their hair return almost completely. The remaining 2/3 saw partial results within the first 6 months. Many needed to continue the treatment longer to reach peak results, as these trials specifically focused on this drug as a monotherapy. What does a dermatologist do in practice? They often combine these tablets with traditional topical treatments to stimulate the scalp and accelerate regrowth in stubborn areas. While the trial involved hundreds of patients to prove safety and efficacy, participants were restricted from using other medications during the study. With the success of these trials, the drug was officially approved for use last June. Dermatologists can now prescribe Olumiant to alopecia patients. This is transformative news for those who have struggled with the emotional burden of this condition, because this drug targets specific immune cells. Via the JAK enzyme pathway, its effects are directly linked to the immune system. Consequently, there are specific side effects that must be considered. Patients must be fully informed, particularly regarding immune suppression. History, for instance, of tuberculosis, even if cured, is generally prohibited from taking the drug. Suppressing the immune system can potentially reactivate latent TB cells, posing a serious health risk. Furthermore, patients must be aware that while on this medication, they may be more prone to bacterial infections. A common cold, for example, could more easily progress into bronchitis. Constant monitoring is required so that at the first sign of a worsening infection, as the body's natural defenses are dampened during treatment, increasing susceptibility. This can lead to recurring respiratory or urinary tract infections, since the immune response is Careful lowered. Medical oversight is paramount. It is absolutely not advisable for a patient to purchase this medication independently from a pharmacy, even if it is available. It must only be used under the strict of a qualified dermatologist. While these are the most significant risks, other side effects are generally manageable. We also need to monitor liver enzymes and conduct regular blood tests, typically every month or two, to track white blood cell counts. This is a comprehensive approach. A dermatologist rarely relies on this treatment alone. They typically combine it with topical agents to maximize the chances of success. Aiming for total hair restoration. Regarding availability, Olumiant is found in pharmacies into different strengths. It is available as 2 milligrams oral tablets, which, as mentioned, have a lower success rate, and 4 milligrams tablets, which are considerably more effective. At the 4 milligram strength, efficacy increases by more than 35%. This dose is often sufficient to produce significant results when used as directed by a specialist. There is a catch: the cost. The medication is currently quite expensive as it is a brand name drug by Eli Lilly in Egypt at the time of recording. A single box costs approximately 12,650 Egyptian pounds. But there is good news. The patent on this medication is set to expire very soon. Because the drug has been in use for over 5 years. For other conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and COVID-19, its patent protection is ending. This means other pharmaceutical companies will soon be permitted to manufacture the active ingredient. While it won't be called Olumiant, it will be sold as a generic version at a fraction of the cost, potentially a quarter or a fifth of the current price. Depending on market competition, these generic versions will provide the same therapeutic effect. We are hopeful that this oral treatment will provide relief for alopecia patients worldwide. Many will no longer need to rely solely on creams or ointments, except in cases with a slower response. That is all for today. Until next time, peace be upon you. And may God's blessings be with you. Goodbye.